Welcome inside the huddle. Welcome to the show. It is Sports Talk. I am Vin Ebenau, joined by Manchester High School football coach Tommy Farrell, home of the Hawks, entering year number 3 at the helm of the football program there. From 3-7 to 8-3, continues to turn around the program, and it's an exciting football program there in the short conference. And Tommy, appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Ben. I appreciate it.
So you took over the program, obviously going into year 3, so the off season, so to speak, right here.
Yep.
Um, what were some of the goals that you wanted to lay down from day one, from when you took over the program? And has any of that changed over the last couple of years with things like, you know what, as we've moved along, here's what I want to do now?
Yeah. Look, when I came in, and you can see it on my sweatshirt, dig with the shovel. I took that from my alma mater at Stonehill College. Keep digging, discipline, intellect, and grit. We have them on the back of our jerseys. We have, great merch with the shovel in there. It just represents the blue collar community of Manchester. And those three words, I think if you do all three of those things, it makes for a heck of a football player. If you lack one of the three, you're not going to be a good football player. You can have intellect and grit, but not have the discipline. You can have the discipline and intellect part, know the game, but then you're not that nasty guy in between the lines. You got to have all three. And I tried my best with my staff to instill that right away, and they took it and ran with it. I mean, these kids want to be coached. They have a yearn to be successful. And it's about time that Manchester football has success, because there's a lot of talent here. These kids are talented football players. These kids are talented athletes. I mean, they win the sectional damn near every year in track and field. They're always competing on the basketball court. They're always competing on the baseball diamond. A lot of other sports have success here. So why can't that translate onto the field? And that's why I was, really excited to take this job. We struggled the first year. No, not going to blame the schedule, not going to blame any of that. We were young with a new stat. Manchester was 5 wide before I got here. I brought back the fullback, and we wanted to run the ball. They were an odd front team. Now we're an even front team. So with the young guys, changing the scheme with a whole new staff, that's going to be tough, some growing pains, but they bought into the weight room. They bought into coaching, and obviously it turned into a successful year last year. And I'm hoping that's just the foundation and that's not the ceiling.
How much patience do you have to have in taking over a program? Well, you and your coaching staff and the players themselves, like, okay, here are our goals. Here's what I want to do. Here's what we want to do. But it's going to take time, and we got to put in the work. So, I mean,
Yeah.
how do you bring patience to yourself as the coach and trying to, lay the foundation for a program? And how do you
Yeah.
ask that of the players on here? Say, hey, wait, you work hard, and we'll find our way.
It does take patience. And if you asked my wife if I had patience, she'd say no, especially now that we have a 4-month-old. But yeah, it takes patience, but it also takes belief. You got to dream it. You got to dream it to achieve it, right? That corny saying. But
Yeah.
I knew the potential of this program. I'm giving my life to this program. I don't want to coach anywhere else. I live in town. I love this community. We have support from the administration, from the township. I think there's a lot of success that could be had consistently in seasons moving forward. So does it take patience? Yeah, it did. But I was so excited each year to see what we can do more. And in that first year, I took it just one practice at a time, one day at a game, one day at a time. In the game, one play at a time, one drive, one possession. And now I think everyone, we have a lot of sophomores who are going to be seniors now that played their first year. And it should gel very nicely. And I'm looking to have that successful season. Patience, I don't know. I've never really been a patient guy, but I think it's more so belief and just happiness. Like I'm happier than I've ever been, being at the helm of this program, being in a township that has taken me and my family in this program under their wings. It's awesome.
I want to go back to your point about athletes playing other sports, because I mean, you and I grew up in an era where it felt like everybody was going from one sport to the next.
Yep.
For me, it was from football to track or playing baseball or basketball growing up.
Yep.
But I mean, I feel like it's important to play multiple sports, develop different skill sets, talents, abilities, and so on
Mhm.
and so forth. But it's almost like I feel like in talking to other coaches as well, that in the last decade or so, that it's become a necessity to try and get enough kids on a roster to play football, not just
Yeah.
like, hey, here's what I want you to do when you're not playing basketball or baseball or lacrosse or whatever. I want you to come out and play football. Now it's like, we need you to come out and play football because we need another receiver or another end or another linebacker and so on and so forth. So, I
Yeah.
mean, how much of that do you feel like is factoring into trying to, encourage kids to come out for the football team? And how much of it is you recognizing talent, say, hey, you would be good for the football team, come
Yeah.
on out?
Yeah, first it starts with like when a kid is when a kid is approached by a coach, it kind of makes them feel like, oh, maybe I am pretty good, or maybe
Hmm.
I can do this thing that I never really thought about, instead of them just kind of doing it on their own. For me, playing multiple sports is vital. I'm the coach that wants them to do a winter sport, that wants them to do a spring sport. I actually love at our high school, we call it a triple threat hawk. So you actually get a special plaque made, you have a special banquet for those who play three sports. And I love that about this high school, that everyone's on the same page to play multiple sports. Um, is it tough? Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of kids who want to isolate and focus on one sport, which is fine. All power to them. But I think a lot of sports are go hand in hand with one another. I will ask you once if you want to play football. And if you don't, I'm kind of just going to leave it at that. I'm not a coach who's going to go chase kids that to beg them to play, or, I go to the AYF games as much as I can in town. But I'm also like not going to beg eighth graders to come to my school. Like we're going to coach who wants to play here. And if that means having 40 kids instead of 80, so be it. I want to coach kids who want to play football at Manchester. I'm not going to beg you to play football for Manchester. The proof is in the pudding. You see kids transferring and going to other schools, and that's fine. I went to a Catholic school, and I loved every
Right.
second of my time at Donovan. But I'm not going to chase kids who don't want to play for me. I know that sounds like a little
No, I get that.
aggressive, but I'd rather have 10 line than 100 sheep, and it'll work out that way here.
In terms of running the kind of offense and defense that you do at the high school level, I mean, just generally speaking with football, towns, you figure you get all these, well, you Pop Warner, AYF, whatever it
Yeah.
has been and whatever it is, youth football. How important do you think it is for some of the youth football programs out there to be running the same system that a high school varsity program is, or at least something similar, so
Yeah.
that if these kids continue on their football journey by the time they get to their high school program, where whatever high school that is, they're that much more ready to take on the varsity playbook and everything.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's successful. There's been success doing that. I used to coach at Shore Regional.
Mm.
They run the Delaware wing tee from the time they're in flag football to the time they're competing for a state championship their senior year of high school. We played them this year. We were 8-3, but that was probably our toughest loss. We lost 35-14 because it's just a well-oiled machine. My personal belief, if you're playing youth football, I'm not worried about the scheme. I just want you to know how to tackle properly. I want you to know how to run the ball, cover the points, learning the fundamentals of football, because it's my job as a coach when you get to the high school level to teach that scheme, to teach those X's and O's. So whether you're running like a jumbo 32 package or you're running five wide, a football player is a football player. And look, I took the job at Manchester. I didn't take the job at Notre Dame or Alabama. My job is to coach the players. My job is to teach them the game. Is it easier if they run the same scheme down there? Sure. But I'm not going to go down to the AYF and say, hey, I would really love for you to run the power spread. I would really love for you to run a 4-2 defense. I'm not going to do that. I just want them to fall in love with the game, teach them the fundamentals, make sure they know how to tackle, keep their bodies safe, cover the points, roll with the ball. And from there, that's my job when they get to high school, is to then expand their knowledge.
And then now that makes sense. I mean, instead of being the proverbial Hawkeyes there, so to speak,
Yeah.
on the sidelines, like,
Yeah.
hey, I want you to start running this, and that, because when these kids get to high school, I want them ready.
Yeah, exactly. And
Uh,
we have a good AYF program. Rob Frazee and everyone down there does a great job. I try to get to as many games on Sunday as I can. And I'm just happy to see numbers,
mm,
especially in
yeah,
society where they're taking manhood away from society. And I think football is one of the last things that we have to grasp as men in this world. So the more we can get the youth to play, the more we can have people fall in love with this game. I mean, there's a reason why the Super Bowl is the most watched event on television. People love this game,
yeah.
and I'm going to do everything I can to keep it alive and keep it growing.
Coming off a successful season, I mean, you obviously, it's high school, and even obviously a lot of colleges feel, the loss of players either graduating or in their case, moving on to the NFL. Um, but how do you deal with the loss of seniors every year to graduation? Obviously, you're always going to lose some big players.
Yeah.
Some by the time they reach their senior year, they have their best athletic year ever. And it's like
Hmm.
I wish, he could be around for another year to help us out so he can grow.
Yeah.
But who are some of the big names that you've lost over the last couple of years to graduation, and how have you been able to bounce back and talk to the juniors, sophomores, and even the freshmen, say, hey, you're the next guys up, come out here and be ready.
Yeah, look, my first year here, so that was 2022, we played a lot of sophomores who are now going to be seniors. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on these guys to know that, yeah, 8-3 was great, but like we can be even better if you guys truly buy in and lock in. My first year, Tyrone Benjamin played in the All Shore game. He's running track and walking on at the football team at Lock Haven. He was a phenomenal wide receiver, D-back for us. He was a leader, great captain. We also had a couple linemen we lost in 2022. This past year, we have Manny Swain, who is an all-division defensive end. He's going to Assumption College to play at the Division II level. Matthias Payton is going to play at Montclair State. He was a great outside linebacker and tight end for us. Gavin Herr, just talk about a guy in the trenches, my left guard. He's looking at some high academic D3 schools. And Josh Love. I mean, Jay Love was the leading scorer in the state of New Jersey for the regular season. To get 32 touchdowns, something like that, something crazy, maybe 34. 5 of those were receiving. He had over 1,500 rushing yards. He had more than 400 receiving yards. Every time he touched the ball, he did something special. And a lot of those times, he wasn't even playing in the second half. So that speaks volumes as to how much better he could have been.
Yeah.
5'7", 165, light in the you-know-what. But he has some opportunities to play at the next level, whether it's Division III or FCS. So he's going to be a huge loss. But, being that we were successful this past season, a lot of the guys behind those guys got reps in live action on the varsity field. And that's huge. Looking at our depth chart, we have a lot coming back, a lot to be excited about. And they know it's a well-oiled machine, but anyone can beat any point out at any time. I'm not that coach who says I definitely don't play freshmen. If you can compete, and you're going to get your letter if you want.
Sure.
We just had, since I've been the head coach here, we've had at least 1 or 2 freshmen letter each year. And
That's
that's
awesome.
huge. So I'm really excited about it. Yeah, you're going to have attrition every year. That's going to happen.
Hmm.
I'm really excited for this upcoming senior class. Those are my boys. It was like my first year. They were all sophomores. And seeing what they did in the weight room, in the classroom, in the community, and on the football field, it's awesome.
And I'll close up with this, with looking ahead. Who are some of the big key players that you're looking at
Yeah,
in coming back, and what are some of your goals? I know it's we're here in February, so you got a few
yeah.
months to prepare and everything, but some of the goals that you have for the next football season coming up in September.
Yeah, I just said it to we had our banquet on Super Bowl Sunday. In the morning, we do a nice little Super Bowl brunch. I took that from Coach Duddy at Donovan when I played for him. He
Nice.
did he did a little Super Bowl brunch. Everyone's in football mode. I'm a Chiefs fan, so obviously I was very happy the last
Oh,
couple of
there you
years.
go.
Our Super Bowl win. I think I got bullied a little bit on that block growing up, being a Chiefs fan, wearing my Priest Holmes jersey, but I'll let it slide. Um, but Aiden Lund is coming back. He's going to be a third-year starter at quarterback. 6'2", 6'3", can sling it and can run it. He has some Ivy League schools looking at him right now. Great student. He's, when you have a quarterback who started when he was a sophomore and is progressively getting better every single year in an upward trend, it makes my job a lot easier. Dante Mordelite, he's our fullback middle linebacker. He plays like Kyle Juszczyk. He's just a freaking stud. He is a bull. There's a reason why he wears 44, because he hits the hardest. I mean, whether it's middle linebacker or fullback, like I couldn't tell you which one he's better at.
Wow.
He's our leading tackler on defense, but when we're in 21 personnel, like everyone knows what we're doing and it doesn't matter because he's leading the way.
You're
We
leading
have
tackler on offense as well.
Yes, exactly. We have 4 of our 5 offensive linemen coming back.
Okay.
And that's huge because I think we were the number 4 offense in the short conference this past year. And I would like to say we run the ball 65 to 70% of the time. So to have the trenches come back is huge. Nas Battle's coming back. He's getting some Division II and FCS looks at the tight end position. Great hands, but even a better run blocker. Then we have MJ Goins coming back. Been a slot receiver for us the last 2 years. I don't know if he's going to be a slot. I don't know if I'm going to move him to Z, but he's also a lockdown corner on the defensive side of the ball. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Ian Spicer's coming back, our all-division kicker. I think he was like 43 for 46 on the year in extra points,
Wow.
2 for 2 with field goals, which is when you have a kicker at the high school level, you can't take that for granted. I know how important it is to be able to get those points up.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Curtis Mayer. Curtis Mayer is actually getting some FBS looks right now at the defensive end position.
Okay.
He's probably pushing 220. He started his freshman year. He's only going to be a junior. Last year as a sophomore, he led, I think he was top 10 in sacks in New Jersey. He's just a force to be reckoned with. I don't know if he's going to play tight end, wide receiver, or offensive tackle on offense. He can do all three, but on the defensive end side of things, you can either run at him and he's going to split a double team, or you run away from him and he's going to chase it down. And all those guys I just mentioned have over a 3.0 GPA and are getting it done in the weight room. And sorry, I missed one more. Spencer Plasek is also might be our biggest recruit next year, who's going to be a senior. He's a left tackle. High academic FCS schools are looking at him. He's 6'6", 255. So I know I just named a lot of people, but that's how excited, that's how excited I am for the future. I'm sure I missed a few guys, but we have a lot coming back with a lot of experience, and I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot to look forward to and a lot to plan for. I mean, hey, once the weather warms up and everything, get practices going and get guys working out in the weight room and everything else. And then soon enough, I mean, June and July and then August will be here. You'll be working out and hitting the pads and everything. Get ready for another season.
Yeah, it goes quick. I'm actually going on paternity leave March 8th. So I promised my wife.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No film. I don't know if I can't do film. I'll definitely watch film, but I'm not going to be posting stuff on Google Classroom or the Remind. I'll let my assistants run the weight room. I come back, and before you know it, it's 7-on-7 season, and we're ready to compete. So I'm excited.
Maybe your wife will let you watch a little bit of film.
Well, if I have the baby in this hand, I'll even show you. I got my huddle remote in this hand. So if I have the baby here in the remote, I think I can do both. So
multitasking coach.
Yeah, you have to.
Tommy, appreciate your time. Best of luck in training and everything. And let's definitely get in touch again. We'll talk, do a little bit more of a closer preview to the upcoming football season. And best of luck to you and the Hawks.
Thanks, Vin. Job's not finished here.
That's Manchester High School football coach Tommy Farrell here on another episode of Sports Talk. I'm Vin Ebenau. I'll talk to you soon.